Hello, I'm back for my Selling the OC review as promised. This is my part one where I review episodes 1 to 4. So getting into it, first episode we get to meet the new cast members. It's all very New Kids on the Block, very Saved by the Bell, very Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, if you know any of those references. There's just a fresh, beachy energy to everybody. And we get Alex Hall, who's kind of like the Queen Supremo leader. I don't know if she's an official sort of manager, but she seems to have that role going forward, and she's giving me very Queen of the South vibes, so that's kind of how I see her throughout the series. We also get to meet Kayla, very hot mummy, who I think is probably one of the more put upon people this season, but she's sort of trying to find her feet. She's relatively new to being an official agent. She used to be like an agent's assistant, so she's now made the move to OC to kind of make it and provide for her and her kiddo. We also meet Gio. Now this guy's definitely a character. I would say he's like a man of principle, but he comes across a bit simple, which there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody loves a simple guy. But I do wonder, did he get past the 9th grade? I'm just saying, I don't know, but that's kind of like the vibe I tend to get with him. We also get Tyler, who's married to a celebrity. I feel like Tyler's always kind of get what they want. So he's a little bit obnoxious to me, even though he's not actually. He seems very chill, very normal. But when you hear that name Tyler, it is kind of like one of the more obnoxious names out there. So Tyler. And then we've got Brandy, who's just very cute. She's like a hustle queen, and she tells it as it is and keeps it moving. We also get Sean, who's just, he's like an off-duty model to look at, so he can do no wrong, really. He's always a welcome presence on the screen. And we also have Polly. Now, Polly is English. And she does look like she should be modeling DKNY glasses at all times. And the only thing that I really remember and that's memorable to me about Polly is that she hates Jarvis, which she told us in a very English accent. And I just found that hilarious because it just seemed as if she was in a spat with a butler. Like both of them seem like they're English butlers who are in a fight together. But Jarvis is actually one of the other cast members. And in fact, one of the remaining cast members. So we have Jarvis and Rose, who are both called Alexandra, which is why we have to refer to them by their surnames of Jarvis and Rose. And they I think like everybody else in the office kind of hates them. So it leads to a lot of Jarvis and Rose bashing at any opportunity, at any gathering, in any discussion, really. You need to somebody at any discussion, any group discussion needs to bring up how they really aren't a fan of either Rose or Jarvis. Mostly Rose, but Jarvis also gets a few knocking downs. So you have Pretty Polly, and have I left anybody out? You do have Austin, but he doesn't really say that much. He's a bit of a snorefest. He's just trying to provide for his family. He seems fine. We'll see if there's any great fireworks coming out of him. But that is the bulk of the people. If I've left anybody out, then too bad. You obviously didn't make that much of an impression, or forgive me if I just completely forgot you are in the show. I do get to see a very impressive custom copper door, which is stuck to a house that's worth 106 million. So that's kind of what you start to notice about Newport, is that the prices kind of make that $75 million house from Selling Sunset look like small change. But I do have to say, you do kind of notice something that is very special about Selling OC, which is those Newport prices. So, it pays to live in Newport, apparently. And then episode 2, we kind of have like a birthday celebration. People come together. Is it Jason's birthday? I don't know. For some reason, they're all together in a room. I think it's like the official launch party, something like that. And Kayla and Rose kind of get into it at the launch. Tensions were already kind of boiling up between these two over a previous kind of spat they got into. So they kind of were trying to sort of apologize, but there was also still a kind of feeling of like, yeah, we're not fully past this. When Alex Hall said the only hour I care about is happy hour, I knew like this girl understands what modern living is about, because the only hour I care about is happy hour. Definitely feel that. I mean, Jarvis and Rose does sound like a detective series. So I feel like if it all falls apart for them, they can definitely get something going with Netflix in terms of realtors who also moonlight as detectives. I don't know. What else happens? There's a lot of sushi at Gio's sort of open house situation. And I do like sushi, but why does it always look so vile? It always looks like it's angry about something. You know what I mean? It just looks like sewage that you picked up and put on a plate. But that's pretty much what sushi is. And yeah, so they're at this Gio's open house, and I did mention in Selling Sunset that the Hollywood Hills thing is to put a golf course on your roof. That's like the official I've arrived and I have megabucks. But it turns out in Newport, the official thing you're supposed to be doing is giving your wife a house. So Gio's basically arranged an open house for a guy who's trying to sell the house he bought his wife, which I didn't know that was a thing, that you can just be gifted a house just for finding the right spouse in life. So that's something to aspire to. And then also at the open house, Gio decides to kind of have a testy conversation with Alex Hall about the fact that she may have snubbed his wife. Well, he believes he believes Alex snubbed his wife, but Alex has no real recollection of this happening. She might have done it, she says, maybe I did, but I didn't mean to, whereas Gio's kind of not letting it go, and he's like, no, you need to make a point of not doing this in future. It was, it was very hurtful and inappropriate. And Alex Hall's kind of like, what? So they have the conversation. It seems like they come to a peaceful agreement to just sort of, if anything was done that shouldn't have been done, I apologize, that type of vibe. But then a few days later, they kind of erupt over this argument that seemingly they didn't have. It seemed like they were being very peaceful, very UN about it, and then suddenly it all kicks off a few days later, and they're basically going at it about this apparent snub. Did you snub her? Did you mean to snub her? Why did you snub her? Never snub her. There's a lot of snubs going on, and Alex is adamant that she didn't, and that Gio's just being a douche. But yeah, so basically whenever people have a civil conversation and it seems like they've completely reached an agreement, more than likely they haven't, and you probably should have just screamed it out first time round, because guaranteed, if you tried to settle it civilly and then you did, and you thought you did, probably one of you is going to erupt in the next few days, and it's just going to be you could as well have just said this at the time. So that's what I took from their conversation, where at first I was like, oh my god, they're so mature, look how they handled this, nobody was screaming at anybody, everybody was just understanding each other's viewpoint. And then that just went out the window, because 2 days after that they were just at each other's throats about this seemingly innocent situation. So nobody's actually an adult, we just pretend like we are, but it's never actually the truth. And the office is quite funny, because it is a brand new office that they've set up at Selling OC in Newport. But it turns out if you live near a moggy, moist beach, which they do in Newport, then you will probably meet a lot of cockroaches. So yeah, we get to see a first for the Selling Sunset brand, which is they basically find out they have cockroaches in the office, and there's only one of them that can actually handle it, which is Polly. I don't know what that says about the English temperament, that we're the ones who could handle the cockroaches, and the rest of them were just screaming and running everywhere and getting very upset and angry about it, and signing off for the day so they could go talk to their therapist about the fact that they had to see this cockroach. But now we know why the previous tenants probably left and didn't let anybody know what was going on. So as a result of all the cockroaching, Jason decides to fumigate the office and gets all the workers to go off and hang out at the beach for the day, and they basically just get to drink champagne and have a laugh while their office is getting redone properly. So yeah, not a bad situation. It's kind of like when COVID hit and we all got told we had to go chill out at home for 10 months or however long it was. So yeah, sometimes it's not the worst when vermin invades your personal space, especially if your owner or boss takes it seriously and doesn't just leave you to subpar conditions. So yeah, they're basically hanging out at the beach for the day, all in the bikinis, all quaffing the champers. And what inevitably happens when you get a group of work colleagues together is you just all end up playing Fuck, Marry, Kill. So that's literally what happens. They end up playing Fuck, Marry, Kill. And I think the final verdict is that everybody wants to marry Tyler, kill Gio, and most of them want to fuck Sean. I think there was like 1 or 2 votes for Austin, but it was pretty much marry Tyler, kill Gio, and fuck Sean. And all of them, like literally every single one of them, said they wanted to kill Gio. So clearly he's doing something to rub them up the wrong way. And like I said, it's also that same beach gathering where Alex and Gio get into their kind of spat about the snub. Did it happen? Didn't it happen? How dare you? Yeah, it was, I think also alcohol was involved. So I think that's also why things came to a head. You've got the sun, you've got the sand, you've got the alcohol, and everybody was a bit lightheaded and giddy and crazy and slightly mental. And then suddenly they're all trying to like gang up on Gio and, you know, get him to kind of back down from his unhappiness at his wife potentially being treated not so well by the fellow workers. But in the end, they kind of just like stormed off to different sides of the beach, and they seemed to be okay about it. I think Gio did hold his own, even though Alex probably thought she could take him because, you know, she's quite a strong, consistent, forthright person who knows how to handle herself fairly well. So I did think she thought, oh, I can totally like just bring this back up and get Gio to cave. But, you know, Gio stood his ground, even though he is probably the simpler of the two. He's still, you know, like I said, he's a man of principle. If he wants to stand up for what he wants to stand up for, he does. So he wasn't really fully taking on the full force of the Alex Hall. So I think they both did okay, even though they were both like slightly nuts about the situation. We get, I think the final thing of episode 3, it was basically Polly. Why was Polly naked at an office party? I'm pretty sure most office policies are like, this is the ultimate thing you should not do in an office gathering. But hey, it's the Newport world, so I guess that's just a normal Friday for them, Thursday for them. And then episode 4, we get to sort of see Kayla kind of really bringing it to most people's attention that she is going through a hard time. She feels really overstretched. She's been working 2 jobs, which, you know, kind of shows you that real estate can be a bit erratic. You can't always trust that you're going to be getting that consistent income. She's been working the 2 jobs, and she's also a single mom, and she just feels tired. She's like burning the candle at both ends. And she's just kind of upset about like feeling like she doesn't have a life at the moment. But the rest of her colleagues aren't like the 2. She talks to the 2 sort of older women, and sorry to say that, the 2 women, and they're not particularly, I mean, they're sympathetic to a point, but they're also like, hey, we've got our own stuff going on, and life's hard, and like, you got to buck up and all that kind of stuff. So I think, you know, I think she is going through a lot, and they could have been slightly more sympathetic, but I think they're really into like the energy, and you've got to keep your energy in a good place, and you've got to stay positive. So I think they thought she was bringing it down a bit. And the first time I watched it, I felt like, no, I totally think she needs a lot more sympathy. The second time I've watched it, I kind of can see where they're coming from. You've got to be careful that you're not just continually going on and on and on about the same, like they call it sob stories, but the same kind of bad situation. Like she seemed to be a bit like she was downing herself when she didn't need to. So hopefully she will realize she doesn't need to down herself, because she does have it. You can totally see she's got the right like drive and confidence and ability to make it and to like sell all the houses she wants to sell. And she seems like a great person. So I don't know why she kind of kept trying to like cause herself to doubt herself, because she has no reason to. She's going to make the sales. She's going to have 100 million in her account, and she doesn't really have anything to worry about. So I think that's why they were trying to say like, hey, you've already got this listing, it's 4.5 million, you've already got this opportunity, like things are on the up, don't even worry about all that other stuff. But that's very easy to say when you're not tired and you're not working, sort of getting up at like 4 a.m. and having to work for like 22 hours. So yeah, I think it's more the tiredness thing. She needs to just like sleep it off and then just get back in the game. And what else? I think by the end of episode 4, I realized that while they were getting fumigated, they also got to install a full bar right next to their desks. So they can now just start drinking like as soon as it hits 5 and they just want to start getting drunk. So I don't even think the White House has a bar like right next to the Oval. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know if this is the new thing they're going to be doing in workplaces, because I think it would be very, very bonding if there was a full bar next to most of our desks. I would get on a lot better with most of my co-workers, I know that for sure. And we would all improve in our cocktail making skills. So I think it is a win-win, and maybe instead of recommending like relaxation or meditation techniques in emails, they should just be telling us that they are going to install a very alcohol filled but also non-alcohol filled, because there's a lot of people that don't drink. I don't know why, but I don't know if they're living are they living in the same world as me? I don't know. But yeah, just like some good alcoholic beverages for free right at work, and I think most of us would never go home, so it would kind of solve a lot of productivity issues as well. But yeah, nothing else to add. That is all. The first 4 episodes of Selling OC have been fairly okay. Nothing really dramatic's happened yet. Nothing firework heavy has gone on, but it's been a sort of slow easing into knowing the new cast. So far, Selling Sunset are just edging it for me, but I've still got 4 more episodes to watch, so things may happen and my jaw may hit the floor in a different way for Selling OC than it does for Selling Sunset. So see you in part 2. Bye.